I got into photographing weddings actually through a friend of mine. We had been friends for years and years through high school, and she had started a photography business and asked if I would come and second shoot a wedding with her. And I found that I absolutely loved it. It was just an amazing thing for me. I just get really emotional at weddings, and I loved just seeing two people get married and become one family, and that was when I knew that this was what I really wanted to do. What I love most about weddings, it's not even just photographing the weddings that day. I get really emotionally invested with my clients. We develop a friendship along the way, and not only do I photograph their wedding, but become a part of their life. So there are so many clients that I have that I've seen their families grow, and I get to go photograph their new babies or photograph their anniversary sessions, and we become friends and connected for years and years down the road. But obviously the wedding is the starting point of that, and it's amazing to watch two people come together, but I really love staying connected years and years down the road. I can't pinpoint one in particular, but I will say that at pretty much every single wedding, I get really emotional when the bride walks down the aisle for the first time, and when the bride and groom meet there. And I will say that, you know, even when a bride does a first look, or she doesn't do a first look, it doesn't take anything away from that moment when she walks down for the first time and the guests see her. I'm getting like teary-eyed just like thinking about it. But when she walks down for the first time and meets her future husband, just knowing that they're about to be married and like to profess their love in front of everybody is just an amazing experience for me, I'm sure for them, and for everybody that's there. And that is my absolute favorite moment at a wedding, regardless of what wedding it is. It's always special. I do get asked about my style a lot. I feel like my style, I try to be very authentic and timeless at the same time. I am not what you would call like a trendy photographer. I want, when you look back at your photos 20 years from now, for them to be just as beautiful today as they are then when you look at them, and not think, oh my gosh, why did I have that weird filter on my photos, or whatever it might be. So yeah, my style is very, very classic is how I like to describe it. But also I've been asked if I have more of an editorial style or a photojournalistic style. I feel like I just kind of have a mix of all genres, because I like to photograph all of the details and tell a story at the same time, but also pepper in the more like posed traditional shots as well. Everybody wants the posed traditional photos of family, but they also want to mix it with the candid. So I make sure that I have a good mix of that. So when they go back and they look at their wedding photos, it tells the entire story of the day. I feel like the details are just as important, because there's a lot of time and a lot of effort put into the planning of the day, and that includes the invitation, the flowers, the earrings, the shoes, like everything that makes the day come together. So I make sure that I include all of that in their full gallery. So at the venue, it was a sunset wedding. It was really, really beautiful. Power went out. And so when it came time for family portraits, there was no power and it was dark. So it was pretty much pitch black. And it was beautifully candlelit, but the family was concerned about taking photos, that it was going to be an issue. So thank goodness, I mean, I understand off-camera lighting, and had brought my off-camera lighting in and done photographs for the entire family, all the family portraits, all of the bridal party. And when the photos came out, they were absolutely amazing. Like, they were beautiful, beautiful pictures. So the guests, they were able to enjoy cocktail hour with the candlelit setting, and the family was able to get all the portraits that they wanted. And it actually ended up being a really beautiful experience for them, even though there was no power for a few minutes. If there was anything that I would change about my wedding day, because I got married so far away from here, from home, I would have tried to have been a little bit more involved in the planning part of it. Because it was so far away, it was hard for me to really kind of envision the day and interact a lot with my vendors, and I would have liked to have had more interaction with them. So if there was a way that I could have met with them beforehand and been able to do tastings at a time, like I didn't get that experience of doing the tastings, which would have been a lot of fun. It would have been awesome to taste some cake, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So I think interacting with the vendors beforehand would have been a much better experience for me, especially with my photographer. We didn't get that interaction beforehand and that connection prior to the wedding day. Number one, to let the process be fun, because it's supposed to be a fun process, planning for a wedding. But one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give them, especially when finding a photographer, is to not just make a decision based on budget, based on price. It really has to be a good balance of price, but also personality fit. So I think it's so important to meet with your photographer and see if it's someone that you really can see yourself spending a lot of time with, somebody that you have a connection with, that you want to spend your entire wedding day with. And it's more than just the wedding day, it's also the time prior to the wedding, the engagement session, the correspondence beforehand. You have to make sure that you have a really great connection with that person, and don't let the cost be the deciding factor.